It's a lovely good evening today, Saturday, the 4th of September 2021. To present Camnet TV News, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight. There is no prudence in procrastination, avail the cabinet, HH advised. Zambia risks having no strong opposition political party if the PF goes into oblivion. Save money is in banks to avoid money circulation shortage, charges CHIBAMBA KANYAMA. And in international news, AMHARA militia take up arms against TIGRAY rebels. And in sports news, DAKA confident CHIPOLOPOLO will thrive in his absence.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue The Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money for MTN 096 296 5883, for Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325, Stanbic Bank, Kablonga branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Hello once again, another news in detail. Chasefu Town Council Secretary Enoch Ngulube says time for politics is long gone and it is now time for elected leaders to work towards developing Chasefu. Speaking in an exclusive interview, Mr. Ngulube adds that the sworn-in councillors should work in collaboration with the technocrats in ensuring development is delivered in all parts of Chasefu district. And Senior Chief Pikamalaza has urged the council chairperson and councillors in Chasefu constituency to ensure the development of both chiefdoms of Pikamalaza and Magodi without discrimination. He has reiterated that chiefs are not partisan and support the government of the day in ensuring development reaches their chiefdoms, pledging support to all elected candidates. The Opposition People's Alliance for Change President Andiford Banda has charged that the delay in announcing cabinet members by the Republican president is causing unnecessary speculation in the country. Speaking to Camnet TV, Mr. Banda explains that while his party understands the president's desire to fully scrutinize people before appointing them, the Zambian people are eagerly waiting to see things move in the economy. President Hichilema has only appointed one cabinet minister, while he clocks almost 2 weeks after being sworn in as Zambia's 7th president. But development activist Louis Mwape is of a different view. We have details in this report.
The political wind of change that blew across the country, seeing the United Party for National Development win with a landslide victory, obviously has high expectations from the Zambian people. With an ailing economy inherited from the Patriotic Front government, one of the best used by the UPND to campaign, and now that they're in government, eyes are open on who will help move the country's fortune around through cabinet. This means that soon after being sworn in as 7th Republican president, it was expected that the president will announce his cabinet, or at least after swearing in members of parliament. 2 days after, the country is eagerly waiting. So far, one cabinet member heading the Ministry of Finance has been appointed and taken office, while other positions remain vacant. However, the anxiety could have been caused due to the fact that people got used to immediate appointments of cabinet members by the previous regime. Opposition People's Alliance for Change President Andiford Banda is also concerned about this, adding that at least Tuesday next week, the head of state should announce his cabinet.
It's almost 2 weeks after President Hakainde Hichilema was sworn in, and over 21 days, almost 21 days after he was declared winner, that he has not been able to appoint a cabinet. I think this is actually worrying us because of the time that it has taken in as much as the economy is important, we believe as PAC that there are other areas that are important, such as the health sector, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and also the agriculture sector. The rain season is looming, and farmers need to know which direction, how many fertilizers, how many inputs they're going to receive. So we believe that President Hakainde Hichilema, he needs to speed up the appointment of his people that are going to run his cabinet as time is running out. As PAC, we still believe that it is important for him to actually check the people that he's supposed to appoint.
Mr. Banda also added this to his call.
To demand that by Tuesday, which will be 14 days after his inauguration, that cabinet is appointed so that people know the people that he has appointed. We don't want speculations. People might start speculating to say that there are differences with alliance partners because he promised jobs to them. So we want to know who he's going to work with so that people can have direction, and I hope that by Tuesday, 14 days after his inauguration, that will be done.
Meanwhile, a development activist, Lewis Mwabe, says the president is on the right track, expressing confidence that soon he will announce his cabinet. Mr. Mwabe says according to the law, he cannot open the National Assembly without a cabinet, of which Parliament will open next week, meaning it is a must that cabinet will be unveiled latest 9 September 2021.
First of all, I think we are processing. For example, the president could not appoint the full cabinet before the parliament was sworn in. That's number one. Second, also there is need also to carefully scrutinize the people, because we know this is a person who has come on board on a principle of ensuring that those that are being appointed actually are credible, they are cleared by the system, and that way it will not be like people beginning to suffer into their life and then they find big bonds. Of course, by the time you open cabinet, you open parliament, there should be ministers. It's within the next week you announce.
For now, ears are on the ground waiting on who will get that appointment. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Republican Progressive Party RPP has attributed the lack of resources in the national coffers to imprudent use of public funds by the Patriotic Front government. Speaking to Camnet News, RPP Secretary General Cassius Akapelwa has charged that the recent leaked audio of PF member Chimbakambwili allegedly trying to interfere with the operations of the Bank of Zambia is proof of this political interference. He has urged government officials under the newly elected United Party for National Development UPND not to take this path, but allow government institutions operate independently and professionally.
Now, pronouncements and investigations have been done, as you are aware, that actually our treasury are empty. It's because of such kind of behaviors like Chimbakambwili was able to demonstrate by giving instructions to the bank governor. The institution that has employees that are professionals, that are able to preside on matters pertaining to the acts of that particular institution, politicians come in and start interfering with the processes that which professionals should be able to undertake. However, we're basically sending a cautionary message to the new government, especially those that will be appointed in cabinet. We are basically saying, let us not get involved in the operations of the institutions that are of that nature, like Bank of Zambia. When politicians start involving themselves in government institutions, especially quasi and these other government institutions, the moment they start interfering in the processes at which professionals should be able to handle, the entire process becomes compromised.
Third Liberation Movement Party President Enoch Tonga has called for introduction of a bill of a non-bailable law on corruption in the first sitting of Parliament, failure to which he says the country will never actualize its fight against this vice. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Tonga explains that his political party has been advocating for the introduction of this bill for 2 years now to no avail. He has further called on the head of state to reaffirm commitments to fighting corruption by ensuring that he is not covered by immunity.
The language that is coming from Mr. Hakainde Hichilema of zero tolerance to corruption is not going to help anybody. We will continue going through circles. Because when people know that once I pick a coin that belongs to my fellow Zambian citizen, I'll be behind bars without bail, they will begin to conduct themselves in a good manner. So my call is this, that they need to work on the non-bailable law on corruption in the first sitting of Parliament immediately. That's very, very, very important. Additionally, to lessen the strength, the power of this man called the President, in this case we're talking about Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, let him remove immunity of himself. That was our message. I'm the head of state today. I'll remove the immunity so that every Zambian citizen feels comfortable. Anybody can take me to court. Implement what we called for by removing the very immunity.
Outspoken former Minister of Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection under the Patriotic Front, PF Raphael Nakachinda, says Zambia risks having no strong opposition political party if the PF goes into oblivion like other former ruling parties after losing elections. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Nakachinda states that having a weak opposition in the country is dangerous to the country's democracy. He further adds that the former ruling party should take lessons from the United National Independence Party, UNIP, and the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD, which he says have almost disappeared from the political scene because of their political parties revolving around a few individuals. We have more in the following report.
The just ended 4th August 2021 general elections were dubbed as a two-horse race by local and international observers, meaning that the elections were between the United Party for National Development UPND and the Patriotic Front PF. Former Minister of Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection under the PF, Raphael Nakachinda, says the trend in Zambia has been that after losing elections, a ruling party goes into oblivion, the case of the United National Independence Party, UNIP, and the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Nakachinda states that as a partner of the PF, he will offer advice to the party to ensure that the PF does not take the same path, as the country is desperately in need of a strong opposition in order for its democracy to survive. While political parties such as the Democratic Party DP have been stating that they are now the biggest opposition party in the country, some stakeholders feel that this is not true, as there is a wide margin between them and the UPND. The UPND in the just ended general elections polled over 2.8 million votes, with the DP, which came third after the PF, having polled 24,879. It is due to this that some stakeholders feel that Zambia has a weak opposition.
The moment you begin to individualize political parties, that is the sure route towards destruction. UNIP somehow was personalized around Dr. Kaunda and his family. That is what led for it to get into oblivion. We made a mistake in MMD by quickly making an emotional decision to go to a convention and elected a person who also personalized the institution. And it has led to where we are, where MMD is imbalanced to a level of a presidential candidate getting 3,000 votes across the country.
Mr. Nakachinda has further expressed disappointment in named PF members who want to switch camp to join the ruling party, stating that political officials should be able to evolve with their political parties.
And in the interest of preserving our democracy, we're going to participate in making sure that Patriotic Front is preserved and we don't have this trend continue. Because if PF goes into oblivion, we are basically just now institutionalizing, in political prostitution or opportunism among politicians. When you lose power, you have to migrate to a new political party. Look at the desperation of some of the people who don't even have shame. Yesterday they were singing songs for EL. They haven't even learned how to speak Tonga. They want to sing songs for Aga in the HLM. That nonsense must come to a stop. We should be able to evolve as a country.
Zambia held its polls on 12th August 2021, in which 16 presidential candidates participated. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Community Action Against Corruption CAAC Chief Executive Officer Brighton Tembo says the criticism coming from some individuals in the former ruling Patriotic Front Party are meant to frustrate the UPND government and not to offer checks and balances. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Tembo states that the former ruling party should give room to the UPND to work and to stop abusing media platforms in the name of freedom of speech. He further adds that the PF should instead reflect on allegations of poor governance and corruption which characterized their 10-year rule.
We just advise the former ruling party officials and the disastrous performers in the just ended general elections to give the Zambians a break, and the new government, they should not be too provocative and abuse the civic space which has been opened up by the new government. The ruling party officials should remember that this is the same civic space which they denied the people of Zambia. They should not be too provocative and push the new government into the position where they can maybe think of proving a point against them. Being patient and allow the law to take its course does not mean that these people are free. If the new government was not patient enough, these people are supposed to be making the noise they are making in police custody or in prisons. So they should not take the people of Zambia for granted. The people of Zambia made their choice and they have to respect that choice. This is democracy. They should not be too bitter such that they criticize everything. Let them be constructive people who can criticize things on merit.
Caritas Zambia Director Eugene Kabelika has called on law enforcement agencies to investigate alleged Patriotic Front cadres who were taken to social media under the past government, displaying colossal sums of money. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Kabelika laments that while the country in the past government had been struggling with problems such as the lack of medicines in hospitals, alleged political party cadres were displaying huge sums of money on social media whose source of funding must be investigated. We have more in the following report.
Zambia, like most third world countries, has many struggles. The last 5 years have been characterized with reports of hospitals lacking medicine, high unemployment rates, and heightened levels of poverty due to an increase in the cost of living. At the peak of these struggles, alleged Patriotic Front PF cadres took to social media displaying colossal sums of money. This caused outrage from many sectors of society.
People with money, Jeff Brown, all the way from Kabwata. Bakambole, Bakalingalinga, show us. Show us.
Caritas Zambia Director Mr. Eugene Kabelika states that these cadres should be investigated in order to determine the source of funding.
Before the 2021 August elections, let me say on the run-up to the election, we saw a lot of cadres that were displaying money, and we literally like mocking Zambians that they had a lot of money. They spread it on their mattresses, on their sitting rooms, and play around with the money in their cars and all that. The big question was, where was that money coming from? So I think that Zambians need answers to that, because those cadres were seen on videos that they were sent on social media. So it is easy to track them and to follow them, so that you ask them the simple question of where the source of the money that they were displaying was coming from. If you compare this with the lack of medicine in hospitals, inability by the government to employ medical workers and also to employ teachers.
He further asked that few individuals should not be allowed to benefit at the expense of majority citizens, saying all sectors of society should be investigated to ensure that money acquired through dubious means is repaid to the country. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Africa's Democratic and Economic Development Organization, ADEDO, has expressed disappointment at the conduct of the United Party for National Development UPND chairman for special duties, William Banda, who Friday stormed the named lodge in Lusaka on allegations that it was used as storage for stolen maize and fertilizers. ADEDO Vice President Daniel Nyati says the conduct of Mr. Banda is equal to that of a cadre in the former Patriotic Front government, which President Hichilema has strongly condemned. He says Mr. Banda has no authority to start interrogating people after reporting the matter to the police. We have more in the following report.
Friday, 3rd September 2021, United Party for National Development UPND chairman for special duty William Banda stormed Revelle Executive Lodge in Mutendere compound of Lusaka in the company of police officers, where he alleged that the named Patriotic Front minister illegally obtained bags of maize and fertilizers from the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit and stored them at the lodge. According to Mr. Banda's claims, investigative wings have a duty to unearth the dubious things that were being committed by the said minister, whom he refused to disclose.
Not a long time ago, you were distributing meal from here.
Now
that meal also you bought it from the dealer. Which dealer did you buy that meal from?
Who is saying I was buying meal to distribute? Who is saying that? You are supposed to ask me what happened with the meal that was frauded here. And then I give you reasons. Why was it frauded? These guys had no capacity of a warehouse where they can fraud for the people from Tendere East.
Which one?
The councillor and the whole team. They were the ones who were in charge of the distribution, not me.
The conduct has, however, angered Africa's Democratic and Economic Development Organization, ADEDO, a political party fully registered in Zambia. According to party's Vice President Daniel Nyati, the conduct of Mr. Banda is not different from that of cadres in the Patriotic Front regime who were in a habit of harassing people in the presence of law enforcers.
The concern as a party is that seemingly there appears to be abuse of the state agencies. William Banda being a private person, William Banda cannot drag the police and take them to a place and start interrogating the owners of the place himself. All he could have done probably is just to lead the police to what he suspects and let the police do their job. He should have laid the complaint. What we are seeing in William Banda is that he's bringing cadreism at a much higher level. The president should be worried also that his people are the ones promoting cadreism.
Mr. Nyati has called on the newly appointed Police Inspector General Remy Kajiba to ensure that sanity is brought back in the police service and in the country.
Banda should have been tamed by the president, and we call upon the new Inspector General of Police, that is Remy Kajiba, to see to it that his people are professional. It is really saddening and worrying if we can have cadreism manifesting at this early stage of governance. What more where we're going? What more when they get grip on governance issues?
Election period, nothing came at my place.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Economist CHIBAMBA KANYAMA has called for strong political will by government to facilitate capacity building of the local small businesses. Mr. KANYAMA says there is need to empower businesses to have direct ownership, especially in the mining sector. He said this during an exclusive interview with Camnet TV. Here's a report.
The informal sector broadly comprises of enterprises which do not comply with full extent of government laws and regulations. This sector is typically characterized by its ease of entry, low levels of skills, labor-intensive technology, and small firm size. It has grown to assume a prominent role in most African economies, including Zambia. In the case of the mining sector, striking a balance between foreign investment and the local small businesses seems to be a debate among the interested parties. To what extent would the locals benefit from foreign investment? An economist, CHIBAMBA KANYAMA, explains the need for a capacity building among the locals if they are to equally contribute to the national economy.
Empowering Zambians in many ways. One of those is ensuring that Zambians have direct ownership, a certain percentage of ownership in most of these companies, particularly in the mining sector. This is very important. Number two, government wants and anticipates that Zambians will play a key role in the supply chain. Supply chain means there should be the key suppliers of most of the components. This has been happening many, many times, but the Zambians played a very minimal role. They only supplied low-value products. We're anticipating that Zambians will be part of not only the supply chain, but also the value chain. The value chain means that they should be able to manufacture some of the products that go into.
Mr. Chibamba highlights the need for empowerment of businesses to have direct ownership, especially in the mining sector.
This process is already started somehow. All it requires now is a very strong government recognition. I would rather the head of state himself begins to recognize those companies that are involved in capacitating of Zambian entrepreneurs. Recognize them publicly. It should be elevated to the very top level, including the ministers themselves. Let those individuals be recognized and be given some level of tax concession. That, look, because you are doing this in the value chain, supplying and empowering Zambian entrepreneurs, we shall provide for you some incentives as an investor, as a multinational in this country, so that you get the full benefit of this. What this will do, it will not only open up opportunities and lock employment directly into these entities, it will also create jobs within these, among these entrepreneurs.
So far, the change in power seems to have brightened the nation's economic prospects, with investors optimistic that the new administration will drive a sustained recovery. However, in all this, the increase in the number of beneficiaries is what one hopes to see. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Meanwhile, Mr. Kanyama has charged that the current cash shortage on the Zambian market is due to the fact that some individuals may be keeping money in their homes. In an exclusive interview with Camnet News, Mr. Kanyama says the Bank of Zambia needs to morally persuade people to bring back the money into the banks so that it can be offloaded into the economy. Mr. Kanyama says it is not enough for the Bank of Zambia to ask members of the public to transact using electronic means. The Bank of Zambia has, in a statement issued Saturday, the 4th of September 2021, stated that it has noted an unprecedented rise in demand for cash countrywide during the past few months and encouraged members of the public to utilize alternatives such as digital financial services. We have more in the following report.
The Bank of Zambia, in a statement issued Saturday, 4th September 2021, says it has noted an unprecedented rise in demand for cash countrywide during the past few months. The demand has been more than the expected seasonal increase in demand for currency during the crop marketing season and the general elections. The bank has since appealed to members of the general public to utilize alternative payment methods to cash, such as digital financial service, in conducting transactions. This, however, does not provide a lasting solution to the challenge of cash shortage and explain the reason why there is a shortage of cash in the country. In a statement with economist CHIBAMBA KANYAMA, Mr. KANYAMA says the current cash shortage might be due to the fact that some individuals are keeping monies in their homes and not taking it to the bank so that it can be pumped back into the economy.
All the Bank of Zambia has done is to more or less like say they recognize there's a problem. And I've just given a hint as to what could have caused the problem. But their solution is that we should use the electronic system for transacting so that we don't handle cash. However, the money is not there because people have it in their homes. People have it somewhere buried or somewhere. You know, to me, there should be a moral suasion, what we call the moral persuasion, to show people that bring money back into the system, wherever you are keeping it, let it go back into the banking system. That is the message we should be hearing now, because just saying transact using electronic system is not enough. The money is not in the banking system. People are keeping it. Why are they keeping it?
Mr. KANYAMA adds that the bank needs to compel those who might be keeping monies in their homes to take it back to the financial institutions.
To me, the solution is that the way. Number one, do what the Bank of Zambia has said now. Let the people transact using electronic system, which is okay, but it is not enough. it doesn't solve the problem, because the problem is people are keeping money away from the banking system. They are keeping it in their homes. Maybe others have buried the money. No. So the Bank of Zambia should start persuading people, telling them that it is illegal to keep a lot of money into your homes. It's not right.
Zambia has reported cases of members of the public keeping monies at their homes, and history might be repeating itself, hence the need for relevant authorities to investigate the matter swiftly. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbanda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. The Federation of Free Trade Unions of Zambia, FFTUZ, is optimistic that the newly appointed Speaker of the National Assembly, Ms. Nelly Muti, will deliver to Zambian people's expectations. FFTUZ National Women's Chairperson Charity Kapamba says the appointment shows that Zambians have confidence in women leadership. Ms. Kampamba has since appealed to President Hakainde Hichilema to continue with the programs that support women to be appointed in decision-making positions. We have more in the following report.
Following the appointment of the first ever female Speaker of the National Assembly, Ms. Nelly Muti, a number of stakeholders have endorsed the development. The Federation of Free Trade Union in Zambia, FFTU, National Women's Chairperson, Ms. Charity Kampamba, says the appointment shows that Zambians have confidence in women leadership.
That position was ever taken up by men, but today it has been taken up by a woman, and that has made us very, very happy. Madam Muti, we know you've got experience, you are a well-renowned lawyer. We are very happy you will not fail to deliver. You will not fail to serve the Zambians, especially to represent the women of this country. More especially the Federation of Free Trade Union of Zambia Women. You will not fail to represent us because they are in Parliament as a woman. You have the knowledge, you have the ability, you have the skills, you have everything, competence, you name it. You have everything. Not because you are there as a woman, but you have all the necessary qualifications and you are equal to the task.
Ms. Kampamba has since applauded President Hakainde Hichilema for his appointment and appeals that he continues on the same trajectory.
We would also want to appeal to His Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, to consider women in other positions as he makes the appointments to come. Either tomorrow or any time, we want women to occupy these higher decision-making positions.
Meanwhile, Cecilia Mbewe, clerk of the National Assembly, declared Nelly Muti as a speaker after the nomination went through unopposed. Ms. Muti was duly elected during the first session of the 13th National Assembly following the general elections held on August 12. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Malcolm College of Education has been advised to stop farming activities and vacate land they occupied in a game area. Malcolm College Management and the National Parks and Wildlife Authority have had a land dispute for close to 2 years. This follows the failure to settle disputes between the Malcolm College Management and National Parks and Wildlife Authority in Chief Chitambo's area. Acting Central Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Mwape Kasanda visited the affected area to understand the matter and help settle the dispute. Meanwhile, Chitambo District National Parks and Wildlife Authority Warden Kamuti Simoshi narrated that the college management was engaged on several occasions and warned them that the land in question was a buffer zone of which farming activities on a large scale could not be done.
Other purposes. So now, as far as we know, this land has not been degazetted. It's still a game management area. As we have been told, it was gazetted in 1972. And to date, the use has not changed. We are less than, I think, a kilometer from the national park boundary. And so this being a buffer zone to protect the animals that are crossing from the national park into the area, the game management area, we cannot allow human activities apart from this being a camp. And so until that law is repealed or that statutory instrument is degazetted, the law is repealed and the area is degazetted so that a new instrument is issued to allow any other human settlement in this area.
The camp, and it's in a game management area. And the only institution that has got also power, authority, is the Department of National Parks and Wildlife. So that area is co-managed, the community, the local community, and the Department of National Parks, which is a government institution. So, sir, from there there was no agreement between us and the college, despite us persuading them to say no, I think please leave that place so that we put our they come and put our place.
Government has announced that it has approved the procurement of 4,400,000 doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccine through the African Vaccine Acquisition Trust, an initiative under the African Union. Ministry Permanent Secretary for Technical Services, Dr. Kennedy Malama, says the country will receive the first consignment on Monday, the 6th of September 2021, consisting of 129,600 doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Dr. Malama, however, says the country has continued to note a trend of patients leaving the facilities against medical advice. The Permanent Secretary says the ministry has heightened the provision of psychosocial counseling to enable patients to be better mentally prepared for their stay in health facilities. And Dr. Malama has updated the nation that following investigations of food poisoning on the Copper Belt, food, stew and blood samples were collected, and that investigations identified salmonella as a causative agent and that patients are receiving appropriate treatment. He says the ministry has taken action and closed down the premises in question. Kalumbila Mine Limited has restocked 80,000 fingerlings in Musangeji and 15,000 fingerlings in Chisola dams to support the communities in Senior Chief Musele's chiefdom as part of corporate social responsibility in the district. Trident Foundation Limited Community Affairs Manager Joseph Ngwira says the support will go a long way in providing sustainable livelihoods in the community beyond the life of the mine. Mr. Ngwira was speaking during the fingerling restocking exercise after handing over registration certificates to Musele Community Resource Board in Kalumbila yesterday. And gracing the event, Northwestern Provincial Fisheries and Livestock Corporate Coordinator Charles Luanga has assured the mine and chiefdom of government's technical support to the initiative. Details in this report by Kravet Chituta of Nais.
Fish farming remains one of the lucrative farming venture with more benefits in income and proteins. Aquaculture production is also part of agriculture diversification for the farmers to realize that farming is a serious business. No wonder Kalumbira Mine through Trident Foundation Limited have continued supporting the community with restocking of fingerlings in Musangeji and Chisola dams in Senior Chief Msere's area in Kalumbira district. Here, the mining company has restocked more fingerlings.
We have been restocking both dams with fish from inception of the two dams as part of our corporate social responsibility. And I can report to you that to date, the dam you see here, we've restocked 80,000 fingerlings. This year alone, we put in 15,000. And we are going to restock another 10,000 before the end of the year. We've done the same for Chisola Dam, and this year in Chisola Dam, we restocked 15,000 fingerlings.
And officiating at Musere Community Resource Board Certificate of Registration handover, Northwestern Provincial Fisheries and Livestock Coordinator Charles Luanga assured the mine and the chiefdom of government's technical support to the program.
Kalumbira Mines has developed, because this is not a development activity now, has given you a development. Or what is needed now is to turn that development into money. And you need leadership. Let those who have gone to school to do management do it. Leave it to us. The other thing is just leadership. What do you need in some of these things? Three things: a form of communication, a form of power, that is energy, and a form of mobility. All what we beg of you here is credible leadership as you organize yourself and drive these projects. Don't expect now the returns, but leave it to your children and your grandchildren.
Senior Chief Musere of the Runda-speaking people, who was represented by Folson Musea, praised the mine working with government for supporting his subjects in the chiefdom.
Twenka ngovu na kukasununa antu konda awaniki na userewa wakunzanga na kujahanshi chengi nawa twadinga nawa na mpinzi ya kukasulura instrumendi hamuna kudinunga na wantu hamune amaine kudinunga na wantu kwenda kuzatira hamo na kuwana netu antu akawani ni mumode hetadembu da inka ukodenzi ambi.
Beneficiaries are motivated with the continued support. Kriva Chituta reporting in Kalumbira District, Northwestern Province.
Former University of Zambia Student Union President and youth activist Shadrack Mumba has called on the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Child Development to work on a deliberate system that will ensure the empowering of unskilled youths across the country. Speaking during an exclusive interview with Camnet TV, Mr. Mumba explains that a larger population of the youth in the country are uneducated and lack proper skills, hence the need for a proactive plan of empowering them. Mr. Mumba adds that if colorism is to end, then the new administration should find ways of interacting with those who opt the streets and find them things to do in place what they have always known as a source of livelihood. He has since called on governments to critically examine its intentions on the youth who do not have a trade.
First of all, the country does not belong only to the educated. We need to understand one thing. Even these so-called cadres, they are human beings that needs to be incorporated or integrated in this society. So if you know that you can't reason with them on the paper, what can you reason them with? Because they're in the streets because they want to make money. It caters again to empowerment. So how can this government harness the situation? One thing is giving an ear to these people. I would love to see a government that's going to be interacting with the people other than just going to send them out. Can they cooperate with the councils? Can they have meetings with these cutters? What do you want? How can we empower you? Because these people that are on the streets have been collecting 10 kwachas from people, and I've heard sections of people saying, no, UPF is out now, they're UPND cadre. That should not be entertained anyway. And we do not say that when you say remove cadres, that means that now these are people that no, discard them or they are useless in society. No, they are very much useful to society, because if you don't harness the situation very well, these are people that now go into the houses and break homes of people and go into theft because they've got nothing literally to do. So I'm looking forward to how the government is going to address this issue, but one of the issues or the first step is to dialogue. Can they make a structure, even through councils, on how they can bring these people on board, interact with them, ask them what they want, then they can see how.
You're watching Camnet TV News. We'll take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news. Stay tuned.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN, 096 296 5883. For Airtel, 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Welcome back. And in international news, volunteer fighters in Ethiopia are responding to a call by regional authorities in the AMHARA region to take up arms against the forces of neighboring Tigray. Ethiopia's federal government has been urging regional administrations to prepare to defend themselves as the Tigray conflict spreads. In the city of Gondar in AMHARA, a school closed for holidays served as a training center for hundreds of new volunteers. The recruits learnt the art of camouflage and basic infantry skills, including weapons training. Instruction complete, they will go out of the city to a live firing range. The basic training lasts about 2 weeks. In other news, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa on Friday said the unrest in July in KwaZulu-Natal and parts of Gauteng had exposed social and economic inadequacies in the country. African News has a roundup.
Volunteer fighters in Ethiopia are responding to a call by regional authorities in the AMHARA region to take up arms against the forces of neighboring Tigray. Ethiopia's federal government has been urging regional administrations to prepare to defend themselves as the Tigray conflict spreads. In the city of Gondar in Amhara, a school closed for the holidays served as a training center for hundreds of these new volunteers. I am here because of what is happening to our people by those from the Tigray and Afar regions. We are volunteering for this training of our own volition and preparing ourselves for the imminent arrival. The first round has graduated and now we are the second round of trainees. Their training starts at 6 a.m. with recruits jogging around the city and doing aerobics. The recruits learns about the art of camouflage and basic infantry skills, including weapons training. When instructions are completed, they do go out of the city to a live firing range. Upon graduation, a select few will join the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, confronting the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, which the federal government terms a terrorist organization. The majority of the militia will remain in the reserves in the towns and villages. The reason why the youth have come here is actually to save themselves from what we hear and see in our area. And also, they've come here to join our national forces on the front line in our struggle as Ethiopia. They are here of their own volition, where we are sharing our military knowledge and also training them. Meanwhile, some 400,000 people living there face famine conditions in what's been described as the world's worst hunger crisis in a decade. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa on Friday said the unrest in July in KwaZulu-Natal and parts of Gauteng had exposed social and economic inadequacies in the country.
The acts of violence and destruction that took place in parts of KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng in July of this year revealed many of the challenges that we still confront in building a united and cohesive society. Another critical part of the work that we must do is to address the social and economic factors that also contributed to the violence and destruction that we saw. A deeply disturbing aspect of the unrest was the emergence of racial tension in parts of eThekwini, particularly between African and Indian communities.
He further urged South Africans to go out and get vaccinated in order to stop the spread of COVID-19 and help the country reach herd immunity.
To be vaccinated. And I do not.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, CHIPOLOPOLO striker Patson DAKA says he is sad that he will miss Tuesday's Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Tunisia, but confident that the team will be equal to the task. Speaking to the FAR's media team in Nouakchott before departure for his base in England, DAKA said it was always doubtful that he would be part of Tunisia match following a pronouncement from the Premier League that they would not exempt players from 10-day quarantine if they travel to COVID-19 red zones. Zambia is listed among the red zones in the COVID-19 global health listings, and anybody who travels to the United Kingdom from Zambia must undergo a mandatory 10-day quarantine. DAKA has urged the fans to rally behind the team as they chase for World Cup qualification. DAKA and Mwepu have left for their bases in England after helping Zambia to a 2-1 win away in Mauritania. The CHIPOLOPOLO hosts Tunisia on Tuesday in Ndola at Levi Mwanawasa Stadium in a 15 hours kickoff.
We all knew that we were not going to be part of the team going to play Tunisia and Zambia, so everyone was ready. We all knew that we had to utilize this game today to at least make sure that we have a platform to give the guys as they go to play at home. And yeah, it's a very sad feeling for me and Enoch because we want to be part of this amazing group, but at the end of the day we know that the team is bigger than players, so we have got a lot of quality players. No one is better than the other in this team. That is what is very important. We treat each other equal and we know that everyone can deliver at any given time, so we believe in the guys who remain. They're going to do the required job and they have our support. We may not be part of them physically, but spiritually we'll be there with them, we'll be supporting them.
The Legacy-Minded Men organization has charged that supporting local talent in communities is the only way of building quality sportsmen and women who will lift the Zambian flag at international levels. Speaking during a community tournament in Lusaka's Ngombe compound organized by the Legacy Men organization, Bishop Davis Banda says there is talent in communities which has remained dormant due to lack of support. Bishop Banda says supporting the youth through sports will enable them to equally become responsible citizens. We have more in this report.
Legacy-Minded Men Zambia says supporting local talent in the communities is the only way of nurturing talent. The institution, originating from God at Work Victory Church, has been organizing a 2-day sporting activity in Ngombe compound, which has seen winners walk away with trophies. And speaking during the activities Saturday, Bishop Davis Banda says the community is full of talent that has remained dormant because there is no one to support it.
And this tournament is designed to bring the youth together in order for them to identify who they are, to identify their talents, making sure that indeed they are promoted and supported. There are so many youths who have a lot of talent in the community, but they cannot reach there because there is no people who can support them or who can identify them who they are. So Legacy-Minded Men is here to identify the youths and identify their talent, making sure that we know their skills and their talents, what they have, and we promote them so that they can become responsible men in the community.
And one of the participants from Legacy team, Shepherd Banda, says the organizing of the activity by the Legacy-Minded Men will enable many young ones who have participated to become responsible.
And I just want to appreciate as well because some of the youths in the compound, their lives are getting spoiled. But because of the Legacy-Minded Men, the organization, it has organized this tournament just because it actually wants to, it has rescued so many lives, like more especially to the youth.
Abled persons are not the only one who participated in the tournament, but a group of deaf players who have thanked the institution for recognizing them.
Special unit people, we are deaf. We are a deaf club called Faith Football Team. And the same, we have come here to see that definitely there are many other people and teams that we have definitely actually competed with, hearing people and us deaf people. It's very good to the way we have interacted together.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
That sports story brings us to the end of the news, but we'll take a look at the headlines again. There is no prudence in procrastination, AVAIL the cabinet, HH advised. Zambia risks having no strong opposition political party if the PF goes into oblivion. Save money in banks to avoid money circulation shortage, charges CHIBAMBA KANYAMA. And in international news, AMHARA militia take up arms against Tigray rebels. In sports news, DAKA confident CHIPOLOPOLO will thrive in his absence. We now look at the Camnet word verse of the day, and it's coming from Psalms 128, verse 1 to 2, and it reads, "Blessed are all who fear the Lord, who walk in obedience to him. You will eat the fruit of your labor, blessings and prosperity will be yours." That's all we had for our news. Thank you for watching. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.